Well, who'd have thunk it? Against the odds, we are here at a decider on automaton. And yeah, you know, it's leveled up. Crimson with just not doing anything radically different than what was done in the first game. Doing similar things with the sort of harass the banshees, those types of things, but it's just working that little bit better. So getting the damage done, and unlike the first game, able to convert that damage done into the win, able to hold the push across the map. So that has been a bit of a theme of this series. Crimson has managed to get an awful lot of worker damage done, and that's kind of forced Wyrm to come across the map. I would like to see something different from Wyrm, because so far the build in all 4 games that I've seen has been identical. It's been pretty much straight up to Colossus and then march across the map off 2-3 base. I'd like to see something different. I haven't seen any Stargate play. I haven't seen any really macro-orientated play. There were Templars. I remember Storm being researched, but getting denied. So it's Wyrm that's going to scout, and he's going to go across the map. You know, we'll see if anything different does happen, because so far it's been Nexus before Cyb, which is economically good, but in terms of aggression, it's very passive. You're not gonna, you know, it's going to be a while before your adepts are getting over the map. You're not really going to get much done, especially given that each time Wyrm has also gone single gate. So I wouldn't mind seeing either something more aggressive. You know, maybe yeah, Nexus is done. Maybe a side core before Nexus into double gate, and put a little bit of early pressure on and see what you can get done. But that's not what we've seen at all. And this does look like it's going to be a rinse and repeat. It looks like it's going to be the same build. You know, and I don't know about that. I don't know. CrimsonTide's builds have been a little bit more varied. We've seen a mech build with Cyclones, which didn't actually pan out so well. We've seen a bio build, which again didn't pan out that well. And then we've seen the mech-oriented build with Hellion Thor, which has worked pretty reasonably. So the worker's going to come up here, but there's 2 Marines, should be able to keep that out. So the worker turns away with, yeah, if he was very fast, he might have got a click off on that building, might have seen that it's a factory. Hard to tell. Now, so far, no scouting information whatsoever from CrimsonTide. So this time the worker's going to come up, and yeah, again, you'd have had to have clicked on that. I suppose you can tell that is where the refinery goes. So yeah, you know that that's a gas, and you're going to have to, if you know that there's a factory down, you know it's a second gas as well. Maybe. So that is all good information that Wyrm might have. But look, this single gate build, you know, with Nexus first into single gate, it's impossible to put any pressure on the Terran in the early game. And I don't know, the last time we saw CrimsonTide go up to 3 bases very early, and to be honest, you know, if this is the build that you've seen your opponent go for, why wouldn't you do that? Because you know that there's nothing coming for you. You know that there's nothing is going to show up until sort of we're up on 2 bases solid with our double robo. Now on this occasion, it's going to be Phoenix, and I like Phoenix. I like Phoenix a great deal. Prefer them against Zerg, but still very, very good units against Terran as well. They're just good units all around. I do like a Phoenix build. So we'll see what we'll see what Wyrm can get done. Who knows? There is certainly, Phoenix give you a lot of potential. They're incredibly fast. Look, Crimson again with the not building workers. I mean, it's not really forgivable, guys. Wyrm, you know, Wyrm not building workers either. We're only at the 4-minute mark. You cannot be stopping building. You know, you can't forget to build the workers that early in the game. You really can't. You've got to keep building up your economy, certainly until you have 3 saturated bases. Then, by all means, take your foot off the gas. I mean, okay, EMS League, 2 saturated bases as a bare minimum, but you know, you've got the natural done, but like really, here we are at 5 minutes. This should be saturated. We should have a serious income. This isn't going to go terribly well for Crimson. The Phoenix can chase and kill all of these. You would think. Here they go. So none of these Hellions are going to make it home. I'm just going to settle for one of them. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really sure what was going on there. Very slow with the lifts. But yeah, so only one Hellion left. Crimson's going to have to think again. A run by does not look very straightforward here. But look, there's plenty of open space to get past the ramp and up in here. 5 Phoenix, it's time to go. 5 is the right number. 5, 6 is what you need. 5 or 6 Phoenix can empty a mineral line remarkably quickly. So, you know, Phoenix best employed on the other side of the map for sure. They are fantastic harass units. So let's see what Wyrm can get done here. I've got high hopes for this. What is in place? Because Crimson knows about the Phoenix. So with that in mind, I mean, yeah, there is a Thor, and Thor is great. But what I'd love to see is some Widow Mines, because Widow Mines can really unhinge a Phoenix play. But there is nothing here in the men, nothing at all. So the Phoenix are going to come in and start lifting. Ideally lift one worker at a time, because then you'll be one-shot in it rather than that delay. The Thor hasn't moved though, so really you need the Thor to hit these, because the Phoenix can, the Phoenix will take shots off Marines without too many problems. But the Thor, and you don't want it in the max payloady weird thing. You don't want that, not against Phoenix. The Phoenix will cluster, so you want to leave your Thor in its default fire state so that it does splash damage in the air. Rather than on the high impact thing, which does massive damage to big things in the air. So it does massive damage to carriers, tempests, bomber ships, that sort of thing. Phoenix are light, so leave the Thor on its normal mode and just have it shelling out splash damage is what you want. Okay. High-speed servos being researched, is that what that is? So Crimson has smelt a whiff of Protoss air and has decided having fast switch servos on the Thors is the way forward, and it's not a terrible shout. You know, oftentimes what you'll see high level players doing against the Phoenix is flying the Thors around in a medevac. So a bit like you do against Mutalisks, you have a medevac, you lift the Thor and you chase the Phoenix using the medevac to drop the Thor, and the Thor does splash damage of course in the air, so it can churn through those Phoenix pretty quickly. Thor is also classed as massive, so Phoenix cannot lift it. They cannot. So here we are again, and I don't want to, you know, sound like a broken record or anything, but look, I caught you. No workers being built, no workers being built, no workers being built. 3 bases is not useful if you're not building workers. None, no workers being built over this side. You guys, you're killing me with this, killing me. Yeah, it's a very idle starport here, so you've got a question, what's it for? Maybe the starport itself is wondering that too. It's like, why was I created? Why am I here? What's my purpose in life? And it probably concerns it. And if you're not careful, that starport's going to become depressed. So I'd love to see a Liberator, a medevac, anything, you know, come out of that. Don't think just because you're going for mech that medevacs aren't useful. They are. They can heal up your Hellbats. Don't forget, once you turn a Hellion into a Hellbat, medevacs will heal it up. And of course, you can use it to lift your Thors. You can use it to lift stuff and do drops, etc. So the Phoenix are going to come in here, but the Thors are going to get some serious shots off from these. So Wyrm does need to be a bit careful. I wouldn't like to say these Phoenix have done okay. I wouldn't like to say they've paid for themselves. There's a handful of Marines here in the men, and those are well positioned. A couple of Widow Mines could make a huge difference here. Again, these double lifts aren't really what you want. You want single lifts so that you just one-shot. You know, lift a worker, one-shot it, lift a worker, one-shot it, lift a worker, one-shot it. That is quicker than lift 2 workers and several shots to kill them. It also means, if you do it like that, that your Phoenix are rotating and probably not taking shots. These are remarkably empty production tabs. Again, And Wyrm actually is supply blocked, so arguably I'll let him off with not being building anything. But look, you know, use the money wisely. You've got 2 forges sat there that are completely idle. Let's have a look at the upgrade. You've got a Twilight console that's also idle. You could be getting Blink, you could be getting Charge. 101 things you can do while supply blocked to make sure you're spending that money. No workers being made, are there? Nah. Who needs workers? Terran don't need workers, do they? They've got mules. They don't even need workers. They just drop mules all day long. So Phoenix are going to come back for another pop. And yeah, look, these are all completely wide open. So 5 Phoenix could rinse through this mineral line in terrifyingly short order. And as I said before, you know, Widow Mines could make such a big difference to this. 1 at each end of your mineral line, and 2 Marines in the middle of the mineral line to finish them off. 2-3 Marines is all you need. Because a Widow Mine won't quite finish off the Phoenix. You know, the splash they do is good, but it won't wreck all the Phoenix, but it will hurt them. So what you need is something there to just add the finishing tap. This is a lot of Thors. So Wyrm is way ahead in army supply, but let's have a look at what that army is. It is overwhelmingly charge lot. Does Crimson know this? I don't think so, because if you did, would you be continuing to build Thors, or would you be cranking out those Hellbats at a rate of knots? Hellbat Widow Mine. Widow Mine's so savage against charge lots. You know, it's a bit like fighting lings. Charge lots, very much like just henchlings, aren't they? Really tanky lings. So Widow Mine's still very good against charge lots. So yeah, and good against Phoenix. I'm wondering why I can't see any Widow Mines on this map, because it could really solve a lot of your problems. It could protect your mineral lines, and it could also go really well with your army. Now that's Liberator Research being, Liberator Range being researched, but I don't see any Liberators. Are there any? No, there aren't. So what gives? Neither are we building any. Just like... What gives? The Phoenix are coming in. Let's see how they do. You know, with the turrets as well, just a Widow Mine makes just so much. Please build a Widow Mine, please. Can the Thors finish these off? There's only... Yeah, they can. Bam. Okay. So that's the end, really, of that Phoenix threat. I don't believe there are any more on the map. Let's take a look. There are not. But there are Tempests coming out. Now, Crimson... with 2 Banshees again. This mineral line actually doesn't have anything in it. This one is just ripe for the picking. This one is ripe for the picking. There are forges, and we've seen Cloak Banshees in most of the games tonight, but what we haven't seen is any cannons, which is interesting. I sort of feel like a cannon here and there wouldn't go astray. But yeah, now that there's workers here, these 2 Banshees will crunch through these pretty quickly. No worker pull, and actually no reaction from Wyrm for quite a long time. So yeah, you want to focus the workers. Don't just run quite fast. Yep. Bye. So let's have a quick peek at what's happened. 13 workers killed for Wyrm by the Phoenix. Oh, what's happening here? Oh, nice. Blue Flame run by again. And in the past, Blue Flame Hellions have won games for Crimson. We have seen that happen. This is not a nice engage, though, with the Cyclones all alone. Yeah, now Big Daddy Thors are coming, and it's going to depend on how much surface area these charge lots can get. Not much, but my goodness, this is a lot of Protoss, and Crimson is going to have to run. Oh no, the Thors get fully surrounded. They can't run. There's just no splash here is the problem. Thors are nice, but they don't do splash. And against something like charge lots, you are going to need splash. Widow Mines, siege tanks, either would have been a better choice. Thors, great against those Phoenix. Not so good against Immortals and charge lots. This looks ominous. I don't see any sign that Crimson can muster enough force to hold this. So it looks like Wyrm is just going to be able to A-click here for the win. Finally, there is a siege tank out, but it's not going to have a chance to, well, It does siege up. How many shots will it actually get off? There's 1, 2. Yeah, so that is a pretty brutal army. Look how quickly these immortals just focus stuff down. Ain't nothing going to survive that. So yeah, it is GG. And it is Wyrm that secures a place in the semi-final. GG.